Okay, so if you're an entrepreneur, you know the name of the game is growth. But that growth, it almost always needs one critical thing: money. And that need for cash creates this huge challenge, right? It forces founders to make decisions that don't just test their business skills, but also their conscience. So what do you do when the most obvious way to get that funding goes against everything you believe in?
So, let me introduce you to Abdullah. He's this brilliant, passionate engineer, and he has poured his heart and soul into his business. And it's working. His customers love him, demand is through the roof, but he's hit that wall. You know the one every single founder dreads. And there it is, right on the screen. It's not that his idea is bad. It's not a lack of customers holding him back. Nope, it's liquidity. He's got all this amazing momentum, but the actual cash to keep the engine running, it just isn't there. It's such a classic, incredibly frustrating spot for an entrepreneur to be in.
All right, so his friend, Muhammad, he hears about this problem. And he comes up with what sounds like the most obvious, simple solution you could possibly imagine. But, as we're about to find out, the simple path, well, it's not always so simple.
And this is the question Muhammad asks. It's what anyone would ask, right? It's the standard playbook when your business needs cash. You go to the bank, you get a loan, problem solved. Simple. Except for Abdullah, it's anything but simple.
And here, this is the moment everything changes. Abdullah's answer just completely flips the script. Suddenly, we're not just talking about finance anymore. We're talking about faith. Because that simple solution, it would mean he'd have to go against one of his most deeply held principles.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to understand a key concept called riba. In Islam, the whole idea behind finance is that it should be tied to real things, tangible assets that are being traded. Riba, which is basically interest, is seen as making money just from money. It's considered an exploitative gain, and so it's forbidden, or haram. And that, right there, is why a normal bank loan is a total non-starter for Abdullah.
So the main road is blocked. But this is where Muhammad, his friend, really steps up. He doesn't just say, oh well, too bad. No, instead, he suggests they look into a totally different way of doing things. A financial path that's actually designed to work with Abdullah's beliefs, not against them.
So instead of just a loan, Muhammad brings up two really interesting ideas. One, go to a specialized Islamic bank. Or two, maybe even form a direct partnership. And the thinking behind both of these is a huge shift in mindset. It's moving away from this idea of a lender just collecting interest and moving towards being a real partner who shares in the ups and downs, the actual risk and the reward of the business.
Now, one of the most popular ways to do this is something called murabaha, or you might hear it called cost-plus financing. And honestly, this is where it gets super interesting, because it's not a loan at all. It's actually a sale. The bank doesn't give you money to buy something. The bank goes out and buys the thing itself and then sells it to you for a price they've both agreed on up front, which includes a clear profit margin.
And when you see it laid out like this, the difference is just night and day. A regular loan, that's a debt relationship. The bank lends out money, which is kind of abstract, and just gets more money back. But with murabaha, the whole deal is grounded in a real, physical thing. The bank actually becomes a seller for a moment. So your relationship isn't lender-borrower anymore, it's seller-buyer. It's a fundamental switch from being in debt to being in a trade.
So what does this actually look like in the real world? It's pretty straightforward, really. First, Abdullah figures out the exact piece of equipment he needs. Then the Islamic bank literally goes and buys that piece of equipment. Step 3, the bank turns around and sells that equipment to Abdullah for a fixed price, a price they both already agreed on, which includes the bank's profit. It's all totally transparent. And finally, Abdullah just pays the bank back over time in installments. The most important part? He's paying for an asset, not paying off a loan with interest that keeps growing.
I mean, you can just imagine for Abdullah, this was a complete game changer. It was this aha moment where he realized he didn't have to make an impossible choice between his business and his faith. He could actually have both. He found a solution that was built on partnership and principles, not just on making a profit.
And you can just feel the excitement and, honestly, the relief in his own words. He talks about barakah. It's this beautiful idea of blessing or a kind of divine grace in your life and work. For him, by making sure his business dealings line up with his values,
He feels his work won't just be successful, it'll be blessed. It'll bring a richness to his life and his business that goes way beyond what money alone can provide.
So when you boil it all down, Abdullah's journey really leaves us with some powerful takeaways. First off, your financial needs don't have to clash with your personal values. Second, there are other ways to do things. Islamic finance gives us these asset-based models instead of interest. Third, structures like murabaha are really built on trade and partnership, not on debt. And finally, this idea that lining up your business with your principles can bring a type of success, that barakah, that's much deeper than just the bottom line.
Now, obviously, Abdullah's story was guided by his Islamic faith, but it raises a much bigger question for every single one of us, doesn't it? It kind of forces us to step back and look at our own financial systems and ask, wait, what values are actually built into the way we handle money? So the thought I really want to leave you with is this. Beyond any specific religion, what role do you think ethics should play in how we build our entire economy?